Hebrews is stuff full of it. If you've never read the book of Hebrews, whew, good stuff. But in Hebrews 6:18-20, and you read this along with me, give you a few seconds. Hebrews is about 2/3 of the way through the New Testament. This is Hebrews 6:18-20. I got to tell you, if you could spend hours on those other verses, that's a funny thing we do with the Bible. We read a verse like, that's a good one, and we move on. Man, sometimes you can spend hours on one verse. You spend a day on this one. Check this out. So God has given both His promise and His oath. Now again, the whole participation thing, I love it. He's given us two things according to this very first sentence. He's given us what? He's given us His promise, and what else? Now you probably view those things as the same, but apparently they're not, or the author wouldn't bother to delineate them separately. That means there's something different He's getting at. Now, I encourage you, if you like to study about it a little deeper, want a little more, you kind of go look into this. An oath in Christ's time was a big deal. A promise was a huge deal too, but an oath was a serious deal. And this passage says, so He's both given us His promise and His oath. These two things are unchangeable. Because, and you've heard this verse before, right? Because it is impossible for God to do what? Oh, that's cool, right? How many of you have ever been lied to? The rest of you obviously couldn't hear me. Okay. Everybody's been lied to in this room. We all have, and we've all lied, unfortunately. And whoever says, no, I haven't, there you go. Therefore, we who have fled to Him for refuge can have, oh, this is good, check this out, can have great, what? Confidence. Those of us who have fled, I'm talking about a word picture, to flee to something for refuge. I think back a couple months ago to Haiti. And, what an amazing, devastating earthquake. And I'm not going to ask for a show of hands on this, but how many of you in this room, just answer rhetorically, don't answer this out loud, how many of you in the last 2 weeks have either thought about Haiti or even heard somebody say something about Haiti? We live in a culture where these crises are like pop culture phenomenons. Everybody cares about them for about 5-6 weeks and they're gone. But think about this, let's go back to Haiti for a minute. Tens of thousands of people in their homes. A lot of their homes not made of much more than brick and mortar and some mud. Nothing like what we have in most of the country here. And this huge earthquake, just a number that's insane. What was it, 8.6? 8.8? It's ridiculous. And Brian, who's a math and computer guy, told me that, he reminded me, I forgot this, the Richter scale is exponential. So every click you go up, it's that much bigger. This 8.8 that flattened their country. That's the same kind of thing we're talking about. This is the word picture being painted here. When you flee to Him for refuge. Those people fled their homes, man. There's still people living in tent cities. While you and I sit here, there are still people living in tent cities weeks later that fled for refuge. And this passage says, because it is impossible for God to lie, therefore we who have fled to Him for refuge can have great confidence as we hold to the hope that lies before us. Verse 19. This hope is a strong and trustworthy anchor for our souls. I love that too. It leads us through the curtain into God's inner sanctuary. My favorite of these three verses, this next one. Jesus has already gone in there for us. He has become our eternal high priest in the order of Melchizedek. By the way, if you want to make your brain hurt, check out Melchizedek. But what an amazing passage, man. Talk about hope. You have hope from a guy who can't lie. A being that is so pure that he won't lie. We don't even dive into this today because I'll make all our brains hurt, but when I used to teach Bible, I remember one of the biggest key questions kids would always ask me. Kids would always ask. Because teenagers are stinking smart people. If you don't know that, you don't give them credit. You've already been duped. They're smart. And one of the questions I would always get asked, it was such a good question, is if God knew about sin, why did He make us anyway? I don't have a perfect answer to that. But I suspect part of the answer lies in a God who can't lie. A God who, just because He knew, refused to take away from us our opportunity to live. A God who, even though He knew, refused to execute His judgment over our own lives when He decided instead to let us make our own decision as to whom we would serve. From the words of Joshua, choose you this day whom you will serve. He wanted to give us that chance. And I know that's not a perfect answer. I don't think anybody has a perfect answer. If they think they do, they're lying to you, I'm pretty sure. We'll find out later. But I think part of the answer is hidden in this text. He's a God that cannot lie, and that's the same God that gives you